Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, honored attendees, and fellow commissioners. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the signing of Senate Bill 100. As chair of Oregon's Land Conservation and Development Commission, I'm honored to stand before you. Today, as we would like to commemorate Oregon's visionary land use system, reflect on the possibilities it affords us in the future, and highlight the actions the Commission and the Department are focused on. These include creating more equitable land use planning outcomes, addressing the housing crisis in Oregon, and creating solutions that mitigate our climate crisis. First and foremost, I would like to express my deep appreciation for the remarkable work of the Commission, of our staff in our department, of Director Brenda Bateman, former Director Jim Rue, Deputy Director Kirsten Green, and our local official advisory group and citizen involvement advisory committee. Together, we have taken great strides in advancing equitable outcomes in Oregon's land use system. And as founder of ADRE, which you just learned, I'm an equity-centered real estate development company, really dedicated to thinking about social and economic benefits for those who have not had the opportunity to get those. Because people are telling personal stories, I was trying to be like, where I actually started this journey was I got my undergrad in ag engineering. I wanted to do hydroponics and feed the world. And I actually studied, I have a master's in city planning. And so this work of the department is sort of, people see me as a real estate developer, but actually my secret passion is agricultural preservation. And so it's with great pride that I present the work of the department and the commission as a model for fostering equitable and sustainable land use policies nationwide. As we look to the next 50 years, it is essential that we look back and acknowledge the United States history that has influenced our land use planning system. The unfortunate reality is that the implementation of our visionary land use goals focused on protecting working lands, resource conservation, responsible growth, and quality and character of the natural and built environment. But most of the time, we fail to ask the questions, as the governor said, who is this for? Who does this benefit? Who has been intentionally or unintentionally excluded from its benefits? History shows us that many of the economic and quality of life benefits predominantly benefit specific groups of people. Those that are white, those that are wealthy, and those with access to power and government. This systemic bias at various levels has resulted in inequitable outcomes and in many cases, displacement of marginalized communities. For the past 5 years, and I wanted to give an acknowledgement to Commissioner Katie Permine. I don't know if she's here, because she was very instrumental in this. For the past 5 years, we've confronted this history head on, actively and intentionally working toward rectifying these injustices through our purview of community engagement, policymaking, resource allocation, and land use planning. Oregon's land use planning system was crafted in 1973 to center our work through community engagement, which I think many of you know is our goal number one. I like to say goal number one. I'm proud to say that the Commission and Department are leaning into this work in our engagement of diverse communities, in our co-creation of a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan, and soon with the adoption of a community-informed strategic plan that embodies equity as an ethos, with actionable work and outcomes in the next 8 years. Our work now also extends to increasing engagement on building relationships with, consulting, and working alongside Oregon's tribal nations. Embracing both the lived experiences of individuals and ancestral knowledge of tribal and First Nations reveals stories and knowledge and instructs us how we can learn to care for our communal and environmental well-being in partnership with the land. So continuing on the theme of equitable outcomes, our department acknowledges that land use challenges and opportunities in coastal towns, small cities all over the state, and in eastern and southern Oregon differ significantly from those found in urban centers, most especially in the face of climate chaos. Many of our rural communities feel unheard and believe the system does not work in their favor. Our commission, along with our department staff, have been listening around the state. We have taken note of rural concerns and experiences. We have seen firsthand that rural challenges are unique, and we are continuing to find solutions that will foster a more balanced future for our rural partners. And so I was hoping Governor was here because I was like, with Governor Kotek's vision, transitioning, and leadership and the support of bipartisan legislatures, Oregon achieved a significant milestone with the passage of the Affordable Housing and Emergency Homelessness Response Package. Yeah. Earlier this year, for those that don't know. This landmark legislation allocated $3.5 million in funding, providing our department and commission with the means to translate the recommendations of the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis into tangible housing outcomes for communities across the state. Drawing on my 20 years of experience in the built environment, I'm acutely aware of the urgency to address Oregon's housing crisis. I would say all of us are acutely aware of this. The Land Conservation and Development Commission is active in creating inclusive communities through forward-thinking housing policies. Our objective is to empower cities to take decisive action that effectively increases housing production, enhances affordability, and expands housing choice for all Oregonians by aligning our resources and collective determination. In the housing work ahead, it is crucial we center the needs and aspirations of underrepresented, underserved, and marginalized communities. The department has developed an anti-displacement toolkit in partnership with Portland State University and a crowdsourced housing production strategies to assist communities in how to increase both their market rate and affordable housing production while identifying areas within cities that are vulnerable to gentrification and enacting strategies that prevent displacement. Furthermore, forthcoming rule change resulting from our legislative recommendations in the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis are poised to bring about a transformative shift in Oregon's land use program. I can't overemphasize this. I don't know how many of you are following the changes in thinking about housing in Goal 10. It will be transformative. Our vision for Oregon communities include adequate housing for all, not just the affluent. Our housing supply should include a variety of living options, diverse densities, and avoid burdening any group financially. The vision is attainable and hopefully not that far in our future. And so for my last point, my final focus area on the commission efforts is our climate action. Recognizing and acting on climate resiliency is crucial for the well-being of our planet. In both my professional and personal life, I have a passion for environmental sustainability, which has guided my career, my service to the state, and extends to my position as current chair of the United States Green Building Council. I have had the privilege of leading the development of a groundbreaking project called Framework, which is the first high-rise, wooden high-rise to be permitted in the United States. And that happened here in Oregon. And I didn't write this on here, but it actually went on to influence and change the International Building Code to allow for buildings across the United States to be built by right. And it also helped to catalyze the U.S. mass timber industry and promote the use of local, sustainable, carbon sequestrating building materials and really link urban and rural economic development needs. So 50 years ago, Oregon led the nation in controlling sprawl and greenhouse gas pollution by establishing urban growth boundaries to support vibrant communities and protect working lands. More recently in 2007, yay, it's a big deal, we all know. More recently in 2007, Oregon made a commitment by establishing statutory goals and policies aimed at reducing climate pollution, including the significant portion that originates from transportation. However, we're not making the progress that we had hoped in these efforts to decrease the frequency and distance of driving for Oregonians' daily needs. This impacts more than our cities and car trips. It impacts the air we breathe, the health of our communities, the success of our agriculture, and the temperature of our oceans. To address this challenge head-on, the Land Conservation and Development Commission embarked on a comprehensive process of updating Oregon's transportation planning rules and the related administrative rules. With the remarkable leadership and vision of late DLCD Director Jim Rue, and we have Mignon here with us in his honor, and former Commissioner Chair Robin MacArthur, who's somewhere in the audience. Both of them responded to the commission charge to act and worked with community partners, community-based organization, marginalized communities, cities, and other stakeholders to create a sensible but ambitious rules to help us address our climate needs in Oregon. After 2 years of extensive community engagement, the commission adopted rules to implement the climate-friendly and equitable community program in July of 2022. And you can imagine all the work from the staff went into all the words that I'm saying. I just want to shout out to staff again. Recognizing the importance of continual improvement, the Commission recently adopted temporary rules to amend the program in April of this year. We also have initiated a rulemaking process to address corrections and clarifications to the program, further enhancing our commitment to creating sustainable and equitable outcomes in our communities. Oregon's land use goals work together as a framework for the state and local comprehensive plans. Furthermore, I know one of our speakers said this before, our land use planning system is not stagnant. It evolves and adapts. I think that's one of its greatest strengths. It grows and it changes and it reflects the shifting needs and aspirations of our communities. This inherent tension within the system is where we can find the opportunity for real progress. This requires us to confront the status quo and embrace necessary changes. An important aspect of this transformation is fostering a culture of yes in my backyard. The counter sentiment to NIMBY, which is not in my backyard. In high opportunity neighborhoods, we need to create space, provide for, and welcome affordable housing and its residents. We have a responsibility to ensure that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing, jobs, and a community that they choose, regardless of the background or their circumstances. Before I conclude, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our local partners, DLCD's dedicated staff, and my esteemed commissioners, who I would actually like to stand up if you're here, who exhibit exemplary leadership and dedication each day. Thank you, Vice Chair Lilac, if they're here, Commissioner Boyer, Commissioner Jacobson, Commissioner Lazo, I see you, Commissioner Sandoval, and Commissioner Warren. And in conclusion, as we commemorate the 50th anniversary of Senate Bill 100, let us not only reflect on the past, but also renew our commitment to build a future where communities thrive and every Oregonian has the opportunity to succeed. Thank you.